everybody, welcome back to the Dan Cave, and welcome to something. Bench update. That's what it is, a bench update. That's why I turned the video on. Yeah, welcome back. Another bench update. Funnily enough, they seem to happen every month. Look at that. So this is the November bench update. Funnily enough, a month on from the last one. So, usual stuff. Gonna have a look at what was built in October, what was bought in October, what's in progress at the moment, future plans, and I'll have a little bit of a chat about Telford, which is the coming weekend, Saturday 12th and Sunday 13th of November. So yeah, it's been a busy month modelling wise. For once, it's been pretty productive. If you keep an eye on the channel, you will have seen just a couple of days ago, third part of the Subaru Legacy came out. So that video build series is complete. So that's absolutely brilliant. Really pleased that that's out there and done. Hopefully at some point today, there'll be some pictures up on my personal Facebook page, shared across numerous groups as well. So if you do spot it, please have a look at the pictures and then go and look for the video build series and then watch it if you've not done so already. So if you are new here, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are watching the video, subscriber or not, don't forget to hit the like button. When you subscribe, don't forget to hit the little bell notification, and then you'll get notified of when these videos are released. So there we go. That's the general intro stuff. I remembered why I turned the video on, why I'm here. It's a good start. And yeah, so winter seems to be slowly arriving in the UK. A couple of weeks ago, it was still 20 degrees C in the day. Now we're down to 12, 13. I think it's 11 today outside at the moment. So temperatures are beginning to dive. But then it is November, so what would you expect? So clocks went back a week ago, so evenings are getting darker, so that tends to lead to more indoor activities, which will hopefully lead to a bit more modelling. Luckily enough, I've had a little bit of time off work as well. Holiday time off work. Was at a bit of a loose end, so managed to get some modelling done, which is really, really good. Some of it was done this week, last few days, so that'll be covered in next month's update. So we're just going to purely stick to what happened in October. So there we go. So before we go on over to the bench and have a look at what's been built, thoughts on Telford. So a few of you out there may have seen, sadly, UMP will not be there this year. And Paul, my good friend over at ISM, won't be there either. However, I will be there. I will be there with a bunch of other people from the ISM Friday Night Live show. And I'm sure we'll bump into loads of other people that we know from around the modelling community. So I never used to go to Telford every year, I'll be honest. I think prior to the big pandemic thing, I think I'd only ever been twice, and that was for day trips. Actually, my wife came with me on both occasions, and we did really enjoy walking around looking at the displays and stuff, and then obviously an element of retail therapy for me, buying lots of kits. Yeah, always really enjoyed the day. It is a massive show. Last year went for both days, which is the first time I've done that. That was a really good weekend. Met lots of different people, and of course that's the first time I've been since I've started the YouTube channel. It's the first time I've been since I've been kind of associated with the Friday Night Live show, been part of the live crew. So that was a different weekend from previous times I've been. So it was a different experience, but it was really, really good. So yeah, so I think going forward, I think, as I've gotten to know more people in the hobby, kind of outside my own kind of little bubble, it's an opportunity to meet up with people kind of once a year. So I think going forward, it'll be more of a regular thing that I'll be there pretty much every year, I think, or at least that's the thoughts in my head. So, but really looking forward to it. So in terms of what do I expect to see? Well, I think the competition's always interesting. It's always good to look at the competition entries. Uh, I don't specifically go, to the competition to kind of measure kits against me or what I think of them or whatever. It's just always interesting to see the standard out there and see the level of competition standard that there is at these shows. That for me, I suppose the competition itself doesn't really appeal to me. I don't think I'd ever be interested in entering. Uh, it's one that never say never, I suppose. But I suppose at the moment it's just not something that overly interests me. I like looking at what's in the competition. I like looking at the standard of work that people produce, particularly some of the winners and some of the more obscure categories that I say obscure, but some of maybe the categories that I wouldn't necessarily always build my kits in, and they're always fascinating and often a source of kind of inspiration. I go there most years, look at some of the armor stuff, particularly some of the diorama work, and I always think, wow, that's something I need to probably do at some point, which I've not got around to. I do have an armor kit. It's just above my head. It's a Trumpeter Sam 6, which I got in the charity auction earlier this year. But I digress a little bit. So, where did I get to? Yeah, inspiration. So I do find the competition stuff, particularly in inspiration, it often kind of, creates ideas that I want to do. Often don't get to them, but it's always a creative inspiration. I would say the biggest thing for me at Telford is the trader stuff. I think I find that most interesting because generally having a good look around that, I tend to find things, particularly tool wise, that's always handy. There's always things you mean to pick up, you keep forgetting. They don't always have exactly what you want in a hobby store, or you just keep on forgetting to pick them up. So it's always a good excuse to pick up a few tools. Kit wise, I think last year, some of the big names weren't there. Donegal Edward were there. Airfix themselves weren't there. The big shops are there, Hannants, Wonderland Models, etc. But I think this year, hopefully some of the bigger traders will be back again. I believe Airfix are there. And, I know, I don't know, maybe it's more wishful thinking. I know there's a couple of kits which are due imminently. It would be nice if they were available. So there's a couple of kits kind of milling around in the back of my head that I think would be nice to possibly see at Telford, because it would be a good opportunity for those kit manufacturers to sell their stock, because they will. So aside from the competition, and the traders, there's obviously all the groups and stuff. So it's always fascinating to look at the groups, and I think for me as a little bit of a people watcher, I always find it interesting to look at the makeup of the groups, and as most of us are fully aware in this hobby, it tends to lean predominantly towards older people. There's not a huge amount of youth in this hobby. So, my specific plans for Telford: try and get a look at competition stuff. So I think that the three things that are probably top of my list: maybe 12 scale kit, automotive. Taglieri have their Bugatti kit, which is due out imminently. It would be interesting to see if that appears on any of the trader stands at Telford. If not that, maybe something like the 112 scale Alpha. They are appealing to me at the moment. Although saying that, I do have a 12 scale Formula 1 car, which I haven't quite got to building yet, but it's there, and the plans are in my head at the moment for that. So that's one. D model kits have been planning their Sierra Cosworth for a long, long time. It's been coming soon for a long, long time. But they have said recently that boxed examples were shipping out and will be ready in November, I think was the last date. So I'm hopeful. You never know. I kind of doubt it. I think it's unlikely, but you never know. Fingers crossed that could suddenly appear at Telford. And then I think the main kind of tool bench stuff I definitely need a circle cutter. I've got a cheap plastic one, but it's only good. It's good. It does the job, but it's only good for big circles. I need one of the Dispay circle cutters, one of the stepless adjustment ones. So I'll be keeping an eye out for one of them at Telford, potentially. Aside from that, it's kind of a case of whatever I see. If I spot something that's interesting, it'll end up in a shopping bag and me a bit lighter of a few pounds, no doubt. So that's my Telford thoughts. I really better get this video out before Telford. Otherwise I'll have to come back and change all that and tell you about what I got or didn't get. It should be done. That's the big plan for this evening. Edit this video and get that bench update out. So let's resume our normal programming now. So let's head on over to the camera, which is just there, looking down. And let's go through the usual kind of topics I cover in my bench update. So as is usual, I'll come back at the end. But because I've spoke for a long time now already, it might not be the longest outro. It might just be a quick bye-bye, everybody. But how's ever, you'll have to wait and see. Okay, over to me on the bench. See you later. So, there we go. Welcome to the what's been built, bought, in progress, blah, blah, blah. Usual stuff I just said. Probably not that long ago. So, first off, what's been built. So, first thing that was finished last month. Finally, the Subaru Legacy in the 555 colour scheme. Colin McRae's car from the 1993 Rally New Zealand. Colin McRae's first WRC win and Subaru's first WRC win. I kind of like this kit. It goes together well. I was surprised how well it fit. Sometimes with older kits like this, the window fit into the bodywork can leave a lot to be desired. There's a little bit of flash on it, but bit of scalpel work and a couple of swipes of a sander and that's sorted. Transparencies are not brilliant, but they're not bad. You can kind of see well, you probably can't from there, but I can see from there the interior come out reasonably well. Looks okay in there. Zero paints, 505 blue, spot on. So yeah, I was pretty happy with this as a piece of work. Yeah, I like it. Glad I did it. Would like to do another one. I would like to try and get the Rothman scheme for this. Which I believe Studio 27 do a set of Rothman's decals for it. I would like to get that, because who doesn't like a Rothman scheme? But there we go. Go and check out the video build series. 3 parts. Me droning on about this and building it. So go and have a look at that. So that's the that's number 1 that's been built. So number 2 is a little bit further away, so don't go anywhere. So this is number 2. It's been built. So this is the Italieri AH1W Super Cobra. It's a done in the box scheme, US Marine Corps. Pretty much, yeah, built from the box. Can't say more than that. Relatively simple kit. I mean, the cockpit area is incredibly simple and not really representative of what a Cobra cockpit looks like, but certainly that's what was in Italieri's head when they obviously machined this many years ago. Aside from that, it's kind of typical of that era. Raised panel lines, not a huge amount of detail, not a huge amount of refinement in the kit either, but it went together okay. Went together very quickly. There will be a video on this. It's going to be one part only. That this can't be stretched out to multiple, well, it could be stretched out to multiple parts, but you'd definitely be bored. But it's going to be a single part. Camouflage scheme done by hand using the H&S Infinity with a 0.15 needle in it. Even then, you know, the soft kind of fade on the camouflage is way overscaled for this scale, but I like the look of it. Works quite well. So yes, that was all painted up. Can't remember, did I prime this? I think I primed it in black and then did the grey, then did the green, and then went back and refined some of the black a little bit when I painted it. Decals went down, satin coat, a little bit of oil work around the kind of exhaust area around here. Give it a little bit more of a kind of speckled staining look. It didn't really need heavy weathering. I've seen examples of these mainly in pictures, but I think there is one of these on the deck of the USS Intrepid in New York. I mean, obviously that's a museum example, but yeah, they don't. I've never seen pictures that said, you know, they were extremely dirty. Not in this particular scheme. So yeah, so just a little bit of light weathering, a few little streaks here and there around the engine access panels, and that was pretty much it. Then given a coat of Ammo MIG Ultramat, which actually seemed to go down well and does actually produce an incredibly matte finish. So I'll actually say that worked quite well. But yeah, simple little build, went together really quickly, and relatively kind of pleased with the work. So there we go. That's the other kit that was built. So what's next? What's been bought? So first up on the what's been bought was this one, which was picked up from Mr. Bretland over at ISM. So we examined a bit of a clear out of some older kits, and had this one. So the original decal scheme for this, I'm looking at this the other day actually, and he did tell me, so this is the original scheme, and if you look closely at those decals, they are pretty much shot. They've kind of, I mean, the camera may not pick it up, but they are pretty much shot. So luckily enough, he had a set of decals for this scheme, which do appear to be in reasonably good condition. So yeah, so there is a decal scheme in there, albeit for a different car, but same kit. All looks good. Stunning car. It's a shame they don't make this kit anymore, but however, I was lucky enough to nab this one off Mr. Bretland. So another one, having picked up McLaren F1 earlier in the year, and this one, I think it's only really the Porsche GT1 that I'm kind of missing from that GT1 era, from the three biggies anyway. So next up on the what's been bought, Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3. So I'm not going to take it out because it's well packed in there, but as you can see, everything appears to be in the box. I was quite pleasantly surprised to see that there is a nice little bit of PE in here for this kit. It's a nice bonus, even though it is an incredibly simple kit. If you watched Paul's video build earlier in the year of this, but I do have a nice colour scheme for it. It's a Mercedes Petronas scheme for this one, so already the decal sheet. I needed to get the kit, so Mr. Bretland was shifting this one on, so I managed to take it off his hands. And then the last one, which was a surprise for me even, was this one, which is a Hasegawa Lancer Evolution 3 in Tommy Mackinnon scheme from 1996. So hadn't planned on buying this one, but as often happens, you have conversations about what kits people are getting rid of, and then you kind of go, oh, actually they're not easy to find. It was a good price, so yeah, managed to relieve Mr. Bretland of this one as well. So I'm a big fan of the earlier Evo marks, probably the 3, 4, even the 2 as well. I always quite like them. Very 90s cars. Right up my alley. Again with Hasegawa, a little bit of photo etch for the seat belts as well, which is a nice touch. And according to the box, this has got Cartograph decals as well, which yeah, Hasegawa realised by Cartograph. I like this scheme, so pleased to pick that one up as well. So yeah, very, very happy to pick up this kit. So that is the what's been bought. So what's in progress? So what should we start with in progress? So start with, if I can find it, Formula 1 car, but not one you would expect. So it is actually the 24th scale Jordan Formula 1 car from Revell. Excuse me while I rip around some other boxes. I'll find the rest of the in progress bit for this. Yeah, so I think I picked this up last year, but for some reason it just always stayed out and always planned to have a go with it. So it is, I've got the rest of the parts here. So it is 24th scale. They are not brilliantly detailed kits. They are known for being a bit of a bugger to go together as well, but I kind of had to have a go with it. It was kind of speaking to me. So really unusual way they're designed. The bodywork is 2 pieces. There's a top and a bottom. Don't even think about engine detail because it all will be hidden beneath this section anyway. It just will not be visible once the kit is assembled. So there is, so what really annoyed me though was originally you have to do the interior, pop the interior inside and then put the pieces together, which then means you'd have to paint and 2K with the cockpit exposed or masked up. And I thought, well actually, why don't I just remove where the seat will go. So the seat will go there, and then I can basically clean this all up completely. So it's had sprue goo on it, which has been curing for a week or two because I've not looked at it for a while, so that'll still need a bit of clean up on the seams, but then I can basically paint, decal, 2K all of this, and then all I need to worry about masking off is for the upper wishbones, which will either be in black or carbon. I haven't really decided whether it's worth carboning at 24th scale. Set of wishbones, as you can see, front wing sits on like that, and then the rear wing sits in a bit like that. And that's kind of the extent of a 24th scale Formula 1 car. But yeah, so plenty of clean-up work still to do on this. But then once it's done, I've basically got all the body parts ready to go Probably a little bit of clean up on them as well. Lots of seams to correct on it as well. But it does, I'm hoping it will build up into a nice looking Jordan Formula 1 car. So that's kind of when I can be bothered trying to build. It's not really top priority. It's more when I'm kind of in between other little jobs on other kits that I tend to pop into that one. So, other thing in progress is the resin kit. The resin kit from hell. So this is the Magna Models de Havilland Dove. So I can't remember exactly where I got to in the last one. I think maybe I'd primed it. But since then, it's had more filler, more sanding, more primer, more filler, more sanding. And it's the kit that keeps on giving. The fit has just been awful, basically. It's been a lot of work. But anyway, ultimately it ended up being primed. Ended up priming it in grey, Tamiya grey primer. Then I was given a primer coat of UMP black. And then I was given a coat of, I think it's Revell. I think initially I tried XF16 because I wanted like an aluminium colour. That really didn't come out very well. So I kind of gave that a bit of a sand back, and then Revell aluminium was then used, which actually has produced a better finish. But all that aluminium has done is just expose more of the flaws in this kit. So I played on anyway. Masked it up, sprayed white, then kind of Dayglow orange, which is a Revell Dayglow orange. Some Irish Aircore decals, number 176. That's pretty much it for the decals. All in all, I think from a distance it looks okay. Kind of look okay sat on a shelf. But as soon as I get up close, I just keep seeing flaws that I'm just not happy with. I think there was just so much wrong with this as a resin kit in terms of shape and proportions and fit. It's not brilliant. I'm not entirely happy with it. But, as is always, I will plough on and finish it. So I've got two choices. I either just throw all the last few bits on it and call it finished, because it's not far off it. It's had a bit of a wash as well. MIG ammo dark, I think, just to dirty it up a little bit. So either just finish it up like that. The other option is I try and do it as more of like an abandoned aircraft, because towards the end of life a lot of these were just parked up and left, in which case I was thinking about coating it in some algae, basically. Just giving it a little bit of a, it's been sat for a few months, not really doing anything type look. But I don't know if that's what I want to do with it yet. I haven't 100% decided on that outcome yet. But that's where it is. A little bit of detail painting left on some of the parts, like the undercarriage and doors and stuff. But aside from that, I think the airframe is mainly done. Probably a little bit of detail painting here and there. Then I need to remove the window inserts that I put in and then refill them with, I'll probably just use micro crystal clear, because there's not much to look at on the inside of the kit anyway. So that's the thoughts on that as an in progress kit. So I'm not going to say any more about that. Well, except I'll say one thing, that there is an A model injection molded version available. I don't know what the kit is like, but I'd be tempted to maybe get that and try and see how that one goes together. May not be any better than this one, but who knows. So that is in progress. In terms of future plans, I've spoken about Telford at the start. I've got a magazine build, which is a Saab J21, but I'm not going to show that or talk about that because that's for a magazine. when it comes out, I'll then discuss it a bit, and then yeah, I do have that Skyline, but that's not really progressed any further than just cleaning up the body. So yeah, so there's a bit of a lull, which is nice just for Telford, so I can rethink what's coming up next. So let's go back to me for final thoughts. Yeah, let's do that. So there we go. That's the November bench update, done and dusted. I definitely seem to have some kind of verbal diarrhea today. The words are coming out with not much joined up thinking behind them. So obviously covered Telford at the start and thoughts on that. Built, really pleased with the Legacy, reasonably pleased with the Cobra. Kit's not great. It's a really old kit. It was more a case of it was there, kind of fell out of a bigger box, and I just decided to build it. Not really done much camouflage this year, so it was nice to get my kind of eye back into a little bit more intricate airbrushing, sort of. So that will be a video build that'll come out next couple of weeks. Footage is all there. I just need to sit and edit it and stuff like that. So the boat, I wasn't really going to buy anything recently, but Paul had a couple of 3 kits that kind of piqued my interest, which yeah, I managed to pry off him for a very reasonable price because he's a very good man. So yes, there's a couple of kits I've been looking for. Definitely the CLK I've been looking for a while. The SLS, I kind of needed one because I have a decal scheme for it, so I was always going to get one. And then the Evo, well, the early Evos were amongst my favourites because that 90s era, which I kind of spoke about in the Legacy video as well, has quite an appeal for me. In progress stuff, so obviously went through the Peugeot, the Jordan Peugeot 197, the state of the Dove at the moment, and then that's pretty much it in progress that I'm going to talk about, that I talked about. Other stuff I'll cover next month. Yeah, future plans, who knows, get through Telford in next month's. I'll probably have finished it, but I am building a little Revell TIE Fighter for the sci-fi group build over at ISM. Hopefully I'll have finished the Dove and then smashed it to bits with a hammer and set fire to it. And I need to get back to the Skyline, so I didn't cover that in the in progress because, to be honest, nothing has moved on. Body is prepped. I just need to find a slot in the calendar to go and prime that and start painting it. So yeah, so thank you for sitting with me for an extended amount of time, listening to me drone on. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. And everyone watching, just hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. And of course, feel free to leave a comment as well. And hopefully for some of you, I will see some of you at Telford. I'll probably be wearing this hoodie, so Dan Cave, hopefully you'll recognise me. The beard gives it away, but then it's Telford, so there's a lot of bearded people. So, but there we go. That's it for me. So we'll say adios, amigos. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you all very, very soon. Bye bye.